What's going on, guys? It's your girl Cordy, and welcome back to Basketball Fan. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the family. I've just got one question for y'all before we even get started. When did the refs start allowing aprons and chef hats on the court? Because tonight, the players were absolutely cooking. I'm talking 5-star restaurant level cooking, straight gourmet basketball. The kind of performance where every possession feels like a new dish coming out of the kitchen, perfectly prepared and ready to serve. So let's jump right into these highlights and break down what we saw on the court. First off, we've got to talk about one of my favorite players, and that's Caitlin Clark. But don't worry, we're going to get into everybody by the end of this video because there was a lot happening in this game. The chemistry, the playmaking, the hustle, the shot making, it was all on display. But let's start with this moment right here that perfectly shows what makes this lineup so interesting. You see Caitlin Clark bringing the ball up the court, calm and composed, reading the defense the whole way. But what really makes this play special is what happens next. Reese steps up to set the screen. And this is exactly the kind of action I was talking about in my last video when I broke down what I was seeing between Caitlin and Angel. When Angel sets that screen, everything on the floor suddenly opens up. It's a strong, well-timed screen that forces the defense to react immediately. The defender has to fight over it, the big has to step up, and suddenly the defense is scrambling to adjust. Caitlin uses the screen perfectly, cutting down toward the lane and pulling the attention of the interior defender. That moment of hesitation from the defense is all she needs. In a split second, she reads the floor and delivers a smooth pass inside, one of those smooth criminal-type dishes that just slices right through the defense. It's the kind of play that reminds you why her vision and court awareness are so special. Angel catches the ball and goes up strong toward the basket. Now, in this particular play, she ends up missing the shot. It happens. Even the best looks don't fall sometimes. You've got to give that one an oh no moment because it looked like it should have dropped. But let's not get it twisted, Reese still had a very solid game overall. In fact, she had another play almost exactly like this one later where she finished the bucket cleanly. That's why I still believe that type of action, Angel rolling to the rim after setting a screen, is one of her highest percentage scoring opportunities. When you think about it, the potential of a duo like Caitlin Clark and Reese is really exciting. Angel is strong, physical, and surprisingly quick for a big player. She runs the floor hard, she's aggressive in the paint, and she isn't afraid to battle for position. Caitlin, on the other hand, brings elite playmaking and the ability to stretch the defense with her shooting and creativity. When those two skill sets start working together consistently, it creates a lot of problems for opposing defenses. You could see flashes of that potential in this game. Angel's screen setting creates space for Caitlin. Caitlin's passing rewards Angel for rolling hard to the basket. It becomes a chain reaction where both players make each other more dangerous. And honestly, that's the kind of basketball that fans love to watch, when two players start to develop that natural rhythm and understanding of each other on the court. Now let's move to the next sequence because this one was all about Caitlin Clark going to work. The play starts with Ray Burrell handling the ball and trying to create something. She's working through the defense, kind of stumbling and tumbling a bit while trying to keep the play alive. Instead of forcing a tough shot, she kicks the ball back out to Caitlin Clark at the perimeter. And that's where things start to get interesting. Caitlin catches the ball and immediately goes into her bag. The defender squares up, ready to challenge her, but Caitlin begins to break them down with pure skill and creativity. First comes the behind-the-back dribble, quick, smooth, and perfectly controlled. The defender stays with her, though, showing good effort. But Caitlin isn't done yet. She flows right into a between-the-legs dribble, that classic tween move that keeps the defender guessing about which direction she's about to attack. The defender continues to stay right there, refusing to give up space. At that point, you've got to give credit where it's due. The defense was actually pretty solid on this possession. But sometimes great defense still isn't enough when a great offensive player gets into rhythm. Caitlin sizes up the defender one more time and then rises into a tough turnaround jumper. And not just any jumper. This one had a little extra flair to it. She lifts into a one-legged fadeaway, the kind of shot that instantly reminds fans of the legendary style of Kobe Bryant. The balance, the confidence, the difficulty level, it was all there. The shot drops cleanly through the net, and that's when you start to feel the momentum shift. It was a beautiful sequence, not just because the shot went in, but because it showed Caitlin's complete offensive toolkit. She wasn't rushing the play. She was patient, reading the defender, testing the defense with different dribble moves, and then finishing with a high-difficulty jumper once she created just enough separation. Throughout most of the game, Caitlin Clark was doing what she does best, setting up her teammates. She was distributing the ball all over the floor, making sure everyone was involved in the offense. Watching her pass sometimes feels like watching a talk show giveaway moment. It's like Oprah out there on the court, you get a bucket. You get a bucket. Everybody gets a bucket. She was finding cutters, hitting shooters, and keeping the offense flowing. But as the game started moving toward the later stages, something shifted in her approach. Instead of focusing only on setting up the team, Caitlin began to call her own number more often. She started looking for her shot, attacking defenders, and creating scoring opportunities for herself. That's one of the most dangerous parts of her game, because when a playmaker like Caitlin decides to become aggressive as a scorer, it forces the defense into a very difficult situation. Defenders can't sag off because she'll shoot. They can't overcommit because she'll pass. And if they try to pressure her too much, she has the handle and creativity to break them down off the dribble. By the end of the game, you could really see her confidence building. The playmaking was still there, but now it was paired with aggressive scoring. That combination is exactly what makes her such a dynamic player to watch. When she finds that balance between facilitating for teammates and taking over offensively, the entire pace and energy of the game can change. And that's exactly what we saw in this performance. So yeah, if you're wondering why I said the players were cooking tonight, this is exactly what I meant. Between the playmaking, the highlight moves, and the tough shot making, the court felt less like a basketball arena and more like a five-star kitchen. Every possession was another dish being served, and fans were getting a full gourmet experience. And if this is the kind of chemistry we're going to keep seeing, especially with players like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese working together, then basketball fans are definitely in for a lot more exciting moments ahead. Make sure you stick with Basketball Fan for more breakdowns, highlights, and reactions just like this one. Because if tonight was any indication, there are going to be plenty more moments worth talking about. Now, let's keep getting into the clips before I start talking about the entire game here on Basketball Fan. We see Caitlin Clark bringing the ball down the court again with a defender right in her face. She signals for the screen, and here it comes. This is where things start getting interesting, because now we're seeing some real action between Caitlin and Paige Bueckers. The movement, the timing, the spacing, it's exactly the kind of offense you want to see. Honestly, you've got to give some credit to the coaching here too. Cheryl Reeve has this group moving the ball and setting up plays nicely, and you can tell the players are starting to get comfortable with each other on the floor. The energy on the sideline even showed it, coaches smiling, players feeding off each other's momentum. Back on the court, the action continues. The screen comes back around and Caitlin is still working the defender. She fights through the contact and steps through the lane, finishing the layup even though there was clearly a foul on the play. It was one of those moments where the whistle could have easily been blown earlier, but Caitlin stayed focused and still got the bucket. That's just toughness and confidence right there. There were actually a few plays in the game where she either scored or created an assist, but a foul was called during the sequence, which kind of messed with the official stat line. But honestly, if you were watching the game, you could still see the impact she was having on the offense. Then we get another highlight moment. The ball movement starts again, and Caitlin attacks with a quick sidestep move to create space. It's a slick move that gets the defender off balance, and she drives toward the basket. Now, if we're being completely honest, she might have gotten away with a little something on that play. It looked like she took an extra step on the drive. One of those moments where you pause the replay and start counting 1, 2, and then maybe a third little step before the shot. But hey, sometimes those things happen in real time. The referees didn't see it, and honestly, in the flow of the game, it was easy to miss. No harm, no foul. Fans were loving it anyway. Next up, we see Jackie Young starting to go to work. She's surveying the floor and then swings the ball over to Caitlin Clark. The ball moves quickly around the perimeter, and suddenly Dearica Hamby gets the ball at the top. What happens next is just pure skill. Hamby hits a nasty shake move that completely throws her defender off balance. It's the kind of move that makes the crowd react instantly because the defender basically gets shaken right out of the play. Hamby explodes past her and starts attacking the defense. From there, the ball starts bouncing back and forth between Hamby and Caitlin as they work the defense. It becomes this quick back-and-forth action that keeps the defenders scrambling. Finally, Caitlin gets the ball again and drives straight down into the paint. She finishes the play with a smooth bucket. What makes it even better is that it was her first bucket right after checking into the game. She didn't waste any time making her presence felt. That's exactly the kind of energy you love to see from a player stepping onto the court, immediate impact. Now, of course, we had to check out the connection between Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers. Fans have been waiting to see that chemistry develop, and this next play gives us a glimpse of it. The defense actually does a good job initially. Kiki Iriafin hedges hard on the screen and helps trap the ball handler, forcing the ball out of the action. But the offense stays calm. The ball gets moved quickly and Paige is flying around the court with incredible energy, practically leaping out of the gym to stay in position. As the play continues, Kiki ends up recovering the ball and immediately starts looking around the floor. And what does she do? She starts searching for her point guard. You can almost imagine the radar going off in her head like, where's Caitlin? Once she finds her, the ball goes right back into Caitlin Clark's hands where the offense can reset. That's when the magic happens. Caitlin grabs the ball, surveys the floor for just a split second, and delivers a beautiful pass right into the perfect spot for Paige Bueckers. It's exactly what great point guards do. They read the defense, anticipate the cut, and deliver the ball at the exact moment it needs to arrive. Paige catches it cleanly and glides in for the layup with ease. Smooth finish, perfect execution, and a great example of the kind of connection that could become really dangerous as these players continue to play together. Overall, the team looked much more organized and uniform in this game. The ball movement was cleaner, the spacing looked better, and players seemed more comfortable with the offensive flow. Possessions didn't feel forced. Instead, the offense looked natural, like everyone understood where they were supposed to be and what they were supposed to do. It was beautiful basketball to watch. And honestly, the way things were flowing, it felt like the whole team was cooking out there. Every possession had energy. Every pass had purpose. You could tell the players were enjoying themselves, and the crowd was feeding off that excitement too. So shout out to USA Basketball because the squad looked really strong in this one. Once the third quarter started, things really started to get wild. That was the moment where players began calling their own number and attacking the defense with confidence. The offense turned aggressive in the best possible way. Players were pulling up and shooting over defenders, hitting tough shots like it was nothing. Jackie Young in particular went on an incredible run where she started scoring bucket after bucket. It felt like every time she touched the ball, something exciting was about to happen. Meanwhile, Chelsea Gray was launching long passes down the court that looked almost impossible. At one point, she threw a pass so high and so far that it looked like the ball might fly straight out of the arena. But somehow it dropped right back into the play. Jackie Young fought through two defenders, grabbed the ball, and laid it in like it was the easiest play in the world. Watching it happen live made you sit back and laugh because it felt almost ridiculous. Like, what are we even watching right now? Team USA looked like they could do anything they wanted on the court. The ball movement, the confidence, the shot making, it all came together during that stretch of the game. Now I will say one thing though. Even with how great the team looked overall, the starting lineup still had me a little confused at the beginning of the game. I'm just saying, let my girls start one of these games. Just one. That's all I'm asking. Because if they're already playing like this off the bench, imagine the energy and momentum they could bring if they were out there from the opening tip. And if the team keeps playing with this kind of chemistry and rhythm, the rest of the competition better be ready, because Team USA looked like they were cooking all night long here on Basketball Fan. Everybody else seems to get their opportunity to start. So the question a lot of fans keep asking is pretty simple. Can we get Caitlin Clark a start at some point? I'm not complaining or making it a huge issue. I'm just asking the question that many fans are thinking. Still, regardless of the starting lineup decisions, the overall performance from the team in this game was strong and encouraging. Paige Bueckers started the game a little slow offensively, but once she found her rhythm, she really turned things around. By the time the final buzzer sounded, she had heated up significantly and finished shooting over 60% from the field while also being perfect from three-point range. That kind of efficiency shows just how dangerous she can be when she gets comfortable in the flow of the offense. Kelsey Plum also contributed with 9 points and played a solid overall game. Her three-point shot wasn't falling the way it sometimes does, but she still stayed active, made smart plays, and helped keep the offense moving. Defensively, the team looked pretty good for most of the night as well. There were only a few moments where the communication seemed off, and those sequences looked like that famous Spider-Man meme where everyone is pointing at each other while someone sneaks in for a wide-open layup. Those breakdowns happen from time to time, but overall the defensive effort was still solid. Another player who made a big impact was Dearica Hamby. She played an extremely efficient game, finishing with 9 rebounds and 5 assists while doing a little bit of everything on the floor. Hamby's ability to contribute in multiple areas, rebounding, playmaking, and scoring really helped keep the team balanced throughout the game. Meanwhile, Chelsea Gray controlled the pace of the game beautifully. She finished with 11 points and 8 assists while knocking down several tough mid-range shots. Gray has always been known for her composure and decision-making, and you could clearly see that leadership on display as she helped guide the offense. Caitlin Clark also had a strong performance, finishing with 12 points and 5 assists while shooting efficiently. Even beyond the numbers, her presence on the floor helped push the tempo and create opportunities for teammates. The only real issue for the team overall was turnovers, which were a little higher than you'd want to see. That's something that will definitely need improvement, especially when facing stronger international teams like the Belgium women's national basketball team or the Australia women's national basketball team. Still, when you look at the full picture, this was clearly a better game for the team. The energy was stronger, the shots were falling more consistently, and the players looked confident with the ball in their hands. Now shifting to another moment from the game, it's interesting how sometimes the biggest discussions don't even revolve around the actual basketball. But the good news this time is that most of the conversation has returned to what happened on the court. Even though some people keep focusing on the layup that Angel Reese missed off a pass from Caitlin Clark, the reality is that missed layups happen in basketball all the time. It's part of the game. What really stood out across these games wasn't that one missed shot, it was how good the combination of Caitlin Clark, Paige Bueckers, and Angel Reese looked when they shared the floor together. When those 3 players are on the court at the same time, the chemistry is easy to notice. They push the pace, they read the defense well, and they constantly create opportunities for each other. It's becoming increasingly clear that they are 3 of the most impactful players on this roster right now. They may not always start together in the lineup, but their importance to the team is undeniable. They represent a core group that could shape the future direction of the squad. Looking ahead, it feels very likely that all 3 players will be part of the roster for the upcoming FIBA Women's Basketball World Cup. When it comes to the Olympic Games roster, though, things might become a little more complicated simply because the talent pool is so deep for Team USA. Elite players like Breanna Stewart, Aya Wilson, and Nafisa Collier will also be part of the discussion when those roster spots are decided. With so many incredible players available, the coaching staff is going to have some extremely difficult decisions to make when it comes to lineup combinations and final selections. Another moment from the game that stood out was actually something small but meaningful. During one of the sequences, players were high-fiving each other after a play. It might sound minor, but it showed the level of team spirit and connection that exists on the court. Earlier in the season, there had been a lot of speculation about whether certain players were getting along, but moments like that made it clear that the group is focused on playing together and supporting one another. One of the best sequences in the game came when Paige Bueckers jumped a passing lane and stole the ball, immediately pushing the play forward. The ball quickly moved through the offense, from Angel Reese to Caitlin Clark and then back into the flow of the attack, before ending with an easy layup. That sequence highlighted how much faster the team started playing compared to earlier possessions. The difference in pace was noticeable. The players began reading the floor more quickly, moving into their spots, and trusting each other with the ball. A big reason for that tempo is Caitlin Clark's style of play. When she gets the ball, teammates understand that they need to run the floor immediately. She looks up the court quickly and can create open scoring chances almost instantly. Players like Paige Bueckers recognize that and sprint to their positions because they know the pass could arrive at any moment. That awareness is what makes the offense so effective when everyone is locked in and operating on the same page. Each of the players brings a different strength to the floor. Angel Reese provides elite rebounding and a powerful interior presence. Paige Bueckers contributes scoring ability and constant movement without the ball. Caitlin Clark delivers playmaking, vision, and the ability to control the tempo of the game. When all of those strengths come together, the team creates a lot of open shots and high-quality opportunities. And that really becomes the biggest takeaway from this game. The young core showed just how dangerous they can be when they move the ball, push the pace, and trust each other offensively. If they continue building that chemistry over time, this group has the potential to become a major force for the United States women's national basketball team in the years ahead. So now I want to hear from all of you here on Basketball Fan. Who do you think was the MVP of the game? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I appreciate all of you for tuning in, and as always, keep it smooth.